Good morning, students. This is Mrs. Bharti Sabarwal, and today we are going to see the chapter 3.2, The Night I Met Einstein, written by Jerome Weidman. Jerome Weidman was an American playwright and novelist. In 1960, he won the Pulitzer Prize for his work. Pulitzer is American Award for Music and Literature, a musical drama titled Fiorello. He collaborated with George Abbott. Collaborated is to team up with someone. He collaborated with George Abbott, Jerry Bock, and Sheldon Harnick too for his music and lyrics. His book, I Can Get It For You Wholesale, has also been used for a movie for the same name. Let's start the chapter. When I was very young man, I was invited to dine at the house of an philanthropist. To dine is to have dinner at the house of a philanthropist. Philanthropist is a person who loves mankind, especially a wealthy person who helps needy people. After a wonderful dinner, our hostess took us to a large drawing room. Hostess is a woman who invites guests to a social event. Chairs were being arranged. I am arranging the chairs for the concert, the performance of music by players or singers. My hostess said, "We are going to listen to a very good pianist." Pianist is someone who plays the piano. Though everyone else was very happy, I was not. All the other people present in the concert were very happy, but this narrator was not. Why? Because I did not understand classical music. I thought I was a tone deaf. The narrator thought that he was a tone deaf. Tone deaf is a person who is unable to hear the difference between high and low notes of music. I sat down so that I would not be impolite. Impolite, the person who is not having any manners. I sat down so that I would not be impolite and waited for the concert to begin. I did not pay attention to the music after it began. After a while, I heard everyone clapping, so I realized that the piece was over. Just then, I heard a gentle but firm voice saying, "You're fond of Bach?" I knew as much about Bach as I did about nuclear physics. The narrator knew about Bach very little. I was going to say something ordinary so that I could get out of the situation. As I turned in order to look at my neighbor, I saw a very famous face. As he turned to give the answer, he saw the question was asked by a very famous personality. Who he was? It was someone with a shock of white hair and a pipe. Shock is having a bunch of thick, rough hair. I knew that I must tell this man the truth. He looked at me as if my answer was very important. His neighbor asked him the question and paid attention that as if he is going to give a very important answer. I did not know anything about Bach, I said. I have never heard any of his music. He looked surprised. You have never heard about Bach? He asked. He made it sound as if I had said that I had never taken a bath. He was so surprised that the narrator was not knowing about the famous personality who was Bach. I'd like to understand music so that I could understand Bach, I said, but I am not able to. I am a tone deaf. The narrator told him that he was a tone deaf. He was not able to understand the music, so he was not knowing about Bach. The old man got up. As soon as he heard the answer from this narrator, he got up. You will come up with me? He asked. I just remained seated. I am requesting you to come with me, he said again. So I went up with him. He took me to a room which had a gramophone. Gramophone, a machine which is used for playing recorded music. So that person took this narrator to a room which had a gramophone in it and asked, "What kind of music do you like?" Well, I answered, "I like songs that have words and the kind of music where I can follow the tune." He smiled and moved his head up and down to indicate the agreement, to show his obviousness. He smiled and nodded. Obviously pleased. You can give me an example perhaps. I told him I like anything by Bing Crosby. At once, I could hear Bing Crosby's voice filling the room. What he did, as soon as he said that I love anything sung by Bing Crosby. Bing Crosby, American singer and actor. So he could hear the sound of Bing Crosby. That person started playing the songs in the gramophone. Now, can you please tell me what you just heard? He said. The simplest answer seemed to be sing the lines, so I sang it back to him. So he started playing the songs of Bing Crosby in the gramophone and asked the narrator, can you explain me what did you hear? And how did the narrator explain? Simply by singing the lines of that song. He smiled. You are not a tone deaf, he said. I told him this was one of my favorite songs, something I had heard hundreds of times, so it didn't really prove anything. So that person told this narrator that if you are able to sing this song also, you are not a tone deaf. So what did the narrator answer? I told him that this is one of my favorite song, and this song I have heard for more than 100 times, so I am able to sing this. Nonsense, said Einstein. It proves everything. Do you remember your first arithmetic lesson in school? Suppose at your very first contact with numbers, your teacher had ordered you to work out a problem in, say, long division or fractions. Could you have done it? So what this person is telling to the narrator, when you were recently, when in your childhood, when you were introduced to the subject maths, if your maths teacher would have told you to directly solve the examples of fractions or divisions, were you be able to solve that? No, of course not. Exactly, it's like learning maths. You have to learn addition and subtraction in order to do multiplication and division. Now, I am playing something a little more advanced. That person told this narrator that learning music is like learning maths. You have to learn basic things. And now, after singing that song, now I am going to play something more advanced. It was John McCormack singing the trumpeter. Sing that back, he ordered. He started playing another singer's song and ordered this narrator to sing that back. And we went on from level to higher level until he was playing just music without words. I was amazed that this great man was paying complete attention to me so that I could learn something new. It was as if I was the most important person in this world. Suddenly, he got up and turned off the gramophone. This person was giving more importance to the narrator and teaching him music. And suddenly what happened? He turned off the gramophone. Now, young man, he said, we are ready to listen to Bach. Now it was time for the concert. He told him to come. Now we are ready to learn. We are ready to listen to the Bach. We went down and sat in the hall. Just allow yourself to listen, he said. That's all there is to it. I have heard that piece many times since that day, but I am never alone. I am sitting beside a small man with a shock of untidy hair and a pipe in his mouth. He has eyes that were unusually warm. When the concert ended, I too was able to clap sincerely. Our hostess came towards us. We both stood up. I'm so sorry, Dr. Einstein, she said, giving me a cold look, that you missed so much. I'm sorry too, he said. My young friend here and I, however, were engaged in the greatest activity of which the human being is capable. So the hostess came to Dr. Einstein. Still the narrator was not knowing him. She said, I am so sorry, Dr. Einstein, she said, giving me a cold look. The hostess gave this narrator a cold look that because of this person, you missed so much. So what answer he gave? I am sorry too, he said. My young friend here and I, however, were engaged in the greatest activity of which a human being is capable. So she looked puzzled. Really, she said. And what is that? Einstein smiled and put his arm across my shoulders, opening up the frontiers of beauty.